What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing good. I just wanted to make a quick video talking about, or I guess kind of a little love letter to the Crosman 1377 1322 platform. I shoot a lot of air guns. I like to shoot everything, but I shoot air guns the most because it's just the easiest. Really, it's the easiest and it's the safest way for me to shoot every day. Sometimes twice a day. I shoot air guns the most, even though I enjoy shooting everything. But I've put almost all of my stuff up either in storage or in the gun safe, and I've left out just a few air guns because I wanted to focus on making videos on those things. I've got a couple of videos I need to make, but I have just ended up shooting the 1377 for probably a month straight. It's kind of scratching the itch, and I wanted to go over my setup. I just did a video, a 1377 overkill video. I put a big Discovery optics scope on my 1377, and I took it off, and I want to go over this setup and why I think this might be the best kit for somebody that is just wanting to do a little bit of target practice around the yard. I think this is the simplest, probably one of the cheapest, and still really accurate. So, most of you guys are familiar with my 1377. I've had this one for a few years, and I left it in a camping bag, and it got completely rusted. So I just hosed it down with, there's some rust. It's already rusted again. I need to clean it, but I just hosed it down with some paint. Several coats. It's just now starting to wear off after a month of use. And I've got the buck rail front side adapter, the buck rail moderator, and that makes this thing super quiet. So if you're shooting in a neighborhood or a backyard or God forbid one of those HOA subdivision places, and I'm not judging, but if you're having to shoot and you're having to be really, really quiet, this is probably the cheapest way that you can do it, because you can vary your FPS with how many times you pump this thing. You can go 3 pumps, you can go all the way up to 10. You can vary the weight of your pellet and your yardages and still be able to target shoot. But up front, that's what I got. I have the stock grip on there. I had the pumper from Buck Rail on here, but me personally, I just tend to like the stock grip a little bit better. I haven't really thought too much about that preference, but yeah, I put the stock grip back on there. It's hosed down. There's a bunch of rust under here. Don't look too hard. Probably am going to take it apart soon and put in try to get a little more power out of it. But I've got an adjustable trigger spring in there, which is optional. You can get one of those off of eBay, and it makes and I've got a lighter hammer spring, but it's made the FPS a little bit lower than a standard, even a pistol. So this is actually shooting a little bit slower. I wouldn't squirrel hunt with this setup. This is just pretty much for backyard shooting or front yard shooting or side yard shooting, whatever. But got the trigger in there, and then the optic setup is kind of the special part. We'll come back to that. And then I've got the buck rail fixed minimalist stock. I really like this stock setup. He's got some folder setups that I've never tried that look awesome too. And then I saw on his Instagram he's coming out with a minimalist folder kit, which I'm hoping to get a hold of, and a AR grip adapter, which I'm hoping I get one of those soon. But just stock grips, and then the minimalist stock. And I'm pretty rough on my stuff. After about, I'd say I've had this on here for about a year. That sun's messing with me. I've had this on here for about a year. I'm starting to get some cracking, but again, I am rough on stuff, especially stuff that I use all the time. I've probably dropped this thing. I've dropped it a lot. You guys know what I'm saying. And it was shoved down into a sea bag for several months. It's just now starting to show signs of wear, and I can replace this part really affordably. I have an affiliate link with Buck Rail. They're probably the biggest supporter of the channel. Small company, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about the optics setup. So I had this Discovery Optics 6-24 on there. Great scope, fantastic for the price. Just a little too much, a little top heavy. This is a really light air rifle, a little much. And I got this Discovery Optics cantilever mount the other day from Discovery Optics. Been getting a lot of products, and I don't even think the video has come out yet. But anyway, there's a video coming out on it soon. Really nice product. These are super affordable for how nice they are. I personally think these are going to go up soon for how nice they are, but perfect fit for this situation. And then I ended up running 3 of the buck rail scope adapters for the Picatinny rail. And I've gotten comments in the past saying people were worried about there's zero shifting with these scope rail adapters, but if running 3, I have not had my zero move, and I've been shooting this thing non-stop for a few days, so every chance I get. Sun's just now coming up, and I've been shooting this for about an hour, so didn't wake my kids up. That's another reason I shoot air guns all the time, is because if I was out here shooting my 17 HMR or my 1022, everybody would have been awake and been like, why are you shooting for an hour on a Tuesday morning? But back to 1377. So the scope adapters, I've ended up running 3 because that's what this Discovery Optics, it has 3 cutouts for Picatinny rail on there. So I was able to run 3 mounts, and that has made it really, really rigid. And I actually saw a little bit of an increase in my accuracy. It actually changed the favorite pellet by adding one of these scope adapters, which I thought was interesting. But with 3 of these on here, this is really rigid. There is zero movement. I would be confident. There's a tick. I would be confident trusting this kit. If it had a little bit more power, I would be confident toting it into the woods, hunting with it, not worried about my zero shifting. Got this Discovery Optics cantilever mount, which is allowing me to move my scope back a little bit and get the proper eye relief. And then the scope that I've put on here is another bargain that was sent to me, full disclosure there, but this is the Vic Optics 3-12x40, and I think the only place that you can get this is off their site, but it's really affordable for what it is. But it's a second focal plane, no illuminated reticle, but you do have the locking target turrets that you can reset your zero on. So you just take the cab off, put your zero on there, and then it's a 30mm tube, which is why I'm using this Discovery Optics cantilever mount. And then I like the big parallax wheel. I think it looks cool, so that's why. And lower magnification is going to work best for this setup because your range is limited. I made a video shooting at 50 yards. That's pushing it. You're basically just hoping that you're going to hit something at 50 yards. Realistically, 30, 35 yards is about tops for any kind of predictable group. You can lob them out there and hit 8-inch targets all day, but you could, if with enough practice, you could do that with a rock. So just because I can hit something sometimes doesn't mean that that's the yardage that I'm going to practice with, because I wouldn't be taking a shot on something at that yardage with this gun if it had the power. That probably didn't make sense, but I like to use stuff at yardages that I can get tight groups at. So a lower magnification scope is going to be better for this setup. And also there's an advantage using the buck rail scope adapters over just a steel breech kit. One is cost. Even with 3 of these, that's still cheaper than the steel breech kit. And the steel breech has a dovetail. This is Picatinny, so I could pop this off, throw a red dot on there, and it's not a big hassle to do that swap. Or if I want to take this off, put another scope on there, use a different set of rings that isn't dovetail rings. There's not a lot of options for dovetail stuff. And if you're wanting to run a red dot on a dovetail, you'd have to run another adapter. So I actually like the buck rail scope adapters better than, I think, the steel breech kit. I honestly want to run this setup on my 3622 may have to get it out of storage. Just want to do a quick love letter to the 13XX platform. I shoot a lot of multi-pump air rifles, mostly because I can shoot them all the time. I used to shoot the 880 a lot, the Daisy 880, but I think now this is my pick for the #1 budget air gun. This setup right here, it's insanely fun, but in my opinion, this is the best budget setup for target practice in your yard. The best budget backyard setup. This is it right here. You don't have to go so high end on the scope, but this is if you're familiar with scope prices, this is about what a cheap Walmart Crosman Springer would be. So you're getting a lot of scope for your money with this one. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video. I'll see you guys later.